maybe I set the ball rolling. Mr. Flip Addison. No, it is said that the pink sheets you have relied on in support of your case have fluctuated back and forth, and their tracking is difficult, and their consequential impact on the assessment of the results is difficult to make. I've seen that you've kept to 2 tables, one reflecting your view of it, and then the other one that's going by the respondents' preferred approach that certain exhibits should be disregarded. I've seen all that. Nonetheless, is there any incidence of fluctuation involved in the changes in the numbers of pink sheets relied on and their specifications and matchings?
My Lord, are you referring to the recategorization?
That's part of it, yes. Let me repeat the question, maybe it's not too clear. What has been raised by the 3rd respondent in his address is that because of the changes in the numbers, the sheer numbers of pink sheets, your case is based on. There have been amendments in the course of the evidence. Some have been taken off, some have been abandoned, etc. And some have been recategorized. So and then the labeling, it is said that it is still not too clear. There's still a mix-up in the references to the identities of the exhibits and their matchings, and that this makes it difficult to assess your case on those lines.
My Lord, the original number of polling stations that the petitioners were relying on was 11,842. These polling stations were fully set out in the further and better particulars, together with the various infractions, so that each polling station was identified together with its infraction in the further and better particulars. Subsequent to that, there has been various reductions. First, the 704 that the petitioners voluntarily deleted. And then down the line, after various reviews, the petitioners decided not to rely on some of these pink sheets. And eventually, it came down to 10,119 polling stations. Now, the criteria for inclusion of these polling stations in our address are that, 1, it must be captured in the further and better particulars, and all the 10,119 are captured in the further and better particulars. 2, it must be supported by the affidavit of second petitioner, or appropriately recategorized with the leave of the court. 3, they must have unique polling station codes, so that except for the duplicate polling station code category, which necessarily will involve double polling station codes. They all have unique polling station codes. 4, it must be captured in the KPMG report, or they must have been used by the respondents in their cross-examination of second petitioner. And lastly, they are not part of the 704 polling stations which were deleted by the petitioners. Well, this is the basis for arriving at the 10,119 polling stations. And we say that in the analysis, each polling station is used only once. Now, the breakdown of the 10,119 polling stations is that we got 7,999 from the registrar's set. 7,999. This is the unique ones out of the 8675. 7,999 from the registrar's set. And then 690 unique polling station codes from the registrar's remarks column. That is out of the 1545 excluded by KPMG. We got 690 out of that. And then from the president's set, we got 804. 804. And then from the remarks of the president's set, we got 60. And then those used by the respondents in cross-examination, we got 566, making a total of 10,119 polling stations. Now, with respect to the recategorization, it involved moving a polling station from one category of violation or irregularity to another. For example, a polling station may have initially been placed in the overvoting only category, which is labeled MBC. But after further scrutiny, it may have moved to the overvoting and no signature of presiding officer category, which is MBK. So that recategorization basically just involved the change of violation from what was indicated in the affidavit. It did not involve the introduction of new polling stations. And the total of polling stations that underwent recategorization is 150. 150 polling stations. It's been set out in Table 2 of Volume 2A of our address. Now, the total number of votes involved for these 150 polling stations that have been recategorized is 60,215.
Well, thank you. Yes. Well, if questions are not coming, I'll continue.
Oh, no, we should ask them.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes. Go on. No. To ask some, then it comes again. Talk some. Yes, go on.
A reply to the point raised that the evidential burden was not discharged by you. So will this be a reply to the point raised that the evidential burden that lay on you was not discharged?
Yes, my lord. We fully discharged that burden. we have voluntarily reduced the numbers we are relying on to 10,119, and we have indicated fully what these polling stations are. And none of them is new. They've all been listed in the further and better particulars, and they were included in the affidavit of second petitioner.
In the overvoting category,
Yes.
how many pin sheets were deleted?
How many pin sheets were needed in overvoting?
Deleted.
Deleted.
Yes.
Do we have that?
I think we'll have one or two perhaps.
Eighty-three.
Mr. Addison, I realize in your volume 2A and B of your address, you made reference to some tables you prepared, and you labeled them Respondents Preferred Data Set. I want to know what exactly you mean by those Respondents Preferred Data Set.
My lords, the respondents have argued that polling stations, or pink sheets for that matter, should only be counted if they met a certain criteria, which was that one, they fall within the original categorization of the affidavit of petitioners. That is, all recategorization should be ignored, even if the names, codes, and number of polling stations are specified in the further and better particulars. Secondly, that these pink sheets should fall within the original range of labeling for each category in the affidavit of the petitioners. So all mislabeled pink sheets should be ignored, again, even if the names and codes and the number of police stations are unique and can easily be identified and are specified in the further and better particulars. They are saying that those should be excluded. And then, thirdly, the pink sheets must have been captured in the KPMG report. And even excluding those that were excluded in the KPMG report, that is the 1,234 which were found to be unique by the second respondent. They should be excluded. And lastly, that the exhibit numbers should be unique. So, my lords, if we go according to what they are seeking, and we exclude all those pink sheets, we get to 9,095 pink sheets, which is what we refer to as the respondents' preferred data set, as opposed to the 10,119 which we used in our analysis.
Okay. Now, if you come to table 5A, in the contents, you state that list of polling stations with combined violations of overvoting and voting without biometric verification using respondents' preferred data set. And you indicated that this will be on pages 397 to 469. Now, if you go to that page in the volume I have, and I'll ask my brother to look at it, page 397 of the volume I have states list of polling stations of overvoting and voting without biometric 397, yes. Now, the contents, look at this. Now, the contents on that page 397 states differently. It states, list of polling stations where there was overvoting, no biometric verification, and no signature of presiding officer. Respondents' preferred data set. But in the contents, which is on page 1 of that volume, you have a different indication. Can you explain? Mm-hmm. 5A. Have you seen it? No, you see it.
Yes, my Lord, we're seeing it. There's something missing.
A couple of them, and
no signature.
It runs to 6A and 7A as well, you know, and 8A. You know. Then
Listen, I just want a small clarification. In your three-dimensional definition of overvoting, I mean, that was by your witness, he indicated that where the ballot papers, that's where A1 ballot papers issued to the polling station was less than was in the ballot box. That was overvoting. Where B1 was less than, so A1, B1, and C1. That's where the ballot papers issued to the polling station. Then ballot papers, the registered number of voters, and then the ballot papers actually issued to the, these were the three-tier or dimensional definition of the overvoting according to your witness, even though I can see from the address that you are actually talking about 2. That is about 2 and then B1 and C1. I can also see from your, I think volume 2B that you've taken, because of the three-dimensional definition of the overvoting, I remember one of the statements that your witness used to make was that if it is blank, it is 0, and that it was a way of hiding overvoting. So you've taken the trouble to indicate from the number of pin sheets where C1 was blank, yes, and then taken as 0. But I don't see any of those, any table relating to where B1 was blank or C1, A1 was blank. Do I take it that no such pin sheet was put forward as representing overvoting originally? Do you get my question? You don't?
Not quite, my Lord.
Because you sought to say that where C1 is blank, it is 0, and it is a way of hiding overvoting. So you have taken the trouble to set out in a table, I think about almost 200 polling pin sheets, where it is in the 2B, it's in 2B, I think it's in 2B. you take the trouble to set out the pink sheets where you said that zero blank, because it is blank, it was zero. But my question is, there is no such table in relation to where C1, where B1 was blank and taken as zero, or A1 was blank. So my question is, do I take that to mean that originally you didn't set out any pink sheets in which you claim overvoting merely because of the absence of, merely because of the blankness of the A1 or B1?
My Lord, it is only where C1 is blank. We're relying on only where C1 is blank. And we have no other pink sheet showing A1 or B1 being blank.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So in the case of A1 and B1, where you say that there's overvoting, then there must be an actual figure which shows that it is lower than the not blank. That is so.
My Lord, Doche pointed out some errors. We have discovered that there are errors in the index. So maybe the index can be ignored. The actual tables are correct.
Very well.
The problem is with the index.
Mr. Addison, on the duplicate serial numbers, I've listened to Dr. Farijan's explanation about how the serial numbers on the pitches were generated. Whether I accept that or not is a different matter. But what I want to find out from you is that apart from the 2012 election, previous elections, have the EC ever assigned serial numbers on pink sheets to particular polling stations in the past?
My Lord, in the past,
come up?
We did not have two sets of pink sheets, so the issue of duplicate serial numbers did not arise.
I'm not asking about two sets. I'm just asking whether in the past the EC ever assigns one set of serial numbers. I'm asking this question because of the evidence on record before the court, that in the case of polling station codes, each region has an alphabet. Polling stations, constituency, each region has an alphabet, constituencies have numbers, then the station is itself identified, making it a unique polling station code. I'm asking if in the past, the serial numbers you have mentioned as one of the malpractices also had unique features identifying them region, constituency, and polling station.
My Lord, there are no specific serial numbers for specific polling stations. It depends on the distribution of the pink sheets. Once that is done, whatever serial number is on a pink sheet given to a particular polling station becomes unique to that polling station. That is so with the ballot papers and all other election materials. Once they are supplied to a particular polling station, it is locked in to that polling station. Thank you.